the first step in making this insert is to get this width correct. Your measurement will be different, but I already cut mine out. Oh yeah, and to get these lines, all I did was put this here, mark it, and because of this pin, I relined it up again on this side and then marked it on here. But to cut them out, if you have a bandsaw, that would work perfectly, but you can do it with a handsaw or a jigsaw. But I'm just going to use the bandsaw for this. This is how we'll get right up to the line on this. Look from above and the sides, see where it's hitting first. Right here, I can see that there's a gap here and it's going down here. And to mark out the hole, what you want to do is whatever side you want the top to be on, put that on the bottom, flip this over, line it up, and there's your hole. So I'm ready to drill the hole out. This is the 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and I just have a clamp on it. So now with this hole, it's really easy to take it out of the table saw, but I'm just going to chamfer the edge here. So this isn't the safest cut, and it might be better if you did this cut before you cut this out, just so you have a little bit more support. But you'll want to cut both sides like that. If you cut too little, you could always just tap the fence, lock it down, do another pass, test it. If it doesn't fit, just tap it and repeat. If you cut too much, it's not the end of the world. On some of them, I have strips of tape.
This is the top, and the side with this is the front. I want it upside down, and with this to the back. So, just like that. I want this one just upside down, so the front part of the insert is still at the front. But have this like that.
And then with a decently sharp pencil, you could roughly mark in where this needs to go. So with this part, you might split the wood here. It's not critical, as long as it doesn't totally split in half. You'll want to cut it about here. The nail is decently placed here, but as you can tell, when I push here, the backside does come up a little bit. That's not a big problem. If it bounces like that when you push down in the front, it needs to be hammered down when this is upside down. So you can see it's kind of angled up a little bit now, and now it does it a lot less. But if it's angled too far up, the front end will stay upright, and you could kind of push it down and it'll be spring loaded kind of. So at that point, you'll want to either hammer the nail down or remove the nail if possible and drill a new hole. The placement of the nail is good, but as you can see, I don't know if you can see actually, this is actually lower than the top of the table saw on both sides back here, and just on this side. This side maybe a little bit lower, but not as bad. What I found a good solution is this tape. It's just masking tape. All you do is put a strip of tape that covers about this area. You're just trying to add tape where these touch here. So at this point, might look something like this. Okay, so now you have your two skill saw blades stacked on top of each other, making sure that the carbide tips are offset from each other. And now lower that as far down into the table as you can. Well, it doesn't have to go all the way down, just far enough where it'll clear this. So it's all taped down. You don't have to tape the back down because of that nail or that pin that you put back here. Sometimes this is too narrow and you have to either chisel it out or very carefully, while the actual blade is in, at the lowest setting, drop it in and it'll cut its own curve. But this definitely helps for this step. Okay, so now it's time to cut the kerf for the piece of wood that will become the riving knife. First is to get the right height of the blade. You don't want to cut all the way through. Maybe a little higher. Right there's good. The height of this doesn't really matter too much. So it's now in the kerf. You'll want to bring the fence over. What you'll want to do is cut a 1/8 inch piece that will fit here, but also tall enough that it'll stick out from the top. You have to make sure that you do kind of make the front go to a tip. It'll help the wood go on either side of it. That might be too much, but it'll be fine. It is already a tight fit without the wood glue, and now it's really tight fit. I think that was it. And there we have it. Custom insert, zero clearance, and a riving knife, which none of those we had before. Just as a reminder, all of your measurements will be different unless you just so happen to have the same exact saw. This was the second one I made. This was the first one. I'm experimenting if the height of the riving knife matters, or if it gets in the way.